All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's been a minute. I've recorded videos, just haven't posted them. But I had a thought over the last couple of days based on conversations that I've had with people, based on my therapy appointment yesterday for cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia. And did I say conversation with people? And just some random thoughts that I've had over the past several days. So let's have a little conversation. So yesterday, after I got out of class, so if you don't know, I'm in a project management professional test prep class this week, Monday through Friday. So after class yesterday, I got home, got myself situated, and decided that I was going to run over to Home Depot to grab a couple of things. Lo and behold, it was storming, so sat in the Armada for a minute until it slowed down. Then I went inside and got what I needed, and then I headed over to Wawa to grab me something to eat. While I was in Wawa, I ran into someone that I consider an uncle. Asked me how I was doing. I'm just living life. And he said, yeah, because I be seeing you on, social media, whatever. And I just living life. So he proceeded to say, I'm moving down to Georgia. And he said, I'm letting you know so that, when I move, get situated, you come visit. I'm like, oh, you moving down to Georgia. Now, he has been married. This is his second marriage. I think his second marriage. Been married for about 20 years, give or take a few more years, maybe a little longer than 20 years. And he is retired Navy. He retired from the Navy. About 20 years ago, retired from the Navy. And from there, he was, driving trucks. And he said, I'm fully retired. Now, he told me that he had been wanting to move down to Georgia for a long time. And I think I remember him saying that a while back. But he was like, yeah, she's not going. I was like, what do you mean she's not going? He said, when he mentioned to her, that's what he was doing, she said, what about mom? And I said, well, what's wrong with her mother? He said, nothing. I said, wait. She don't want to move down to Georgia because of her mother? And then this thought rattled in my mind about how let me see. The thought rattled in my mind of how I know a lot of women who are either in relationships or not in relationships or are looking to be in the relationships, but they will not relocate because of their parents, elderly parents. Now, in some cases, I can kind of understand that. But then in other cases, it's like, what do you mean? You're not going to live your life for what? Now, if your parents are sick or, need help or whatever the case may be, I kind of understand that to a degree. However, I think the conflicting part of that to me is kind of twofold, maybe threefold. If you want a man that's leading and he's not leading you off the cliff, why not follow with that man? Okay. Two, if you're one of those religious types who preach the man is the head of the household, but you want to do otherwise, how does that dynamic work? And then I guess three is, how do you go about living your life if you are living it for other people? Now, don't misconstrue me to say the hell with your parents and you just go off and do great things. But I'm just trying to understand how you do not live your life with a man of your choosing, but you let something like that hold you back. And it just blew my mind, because it's like, wait a minute. There's nothing wrong with her mother. Y'all have been married for 20 years, 20 plus years. You have wanted to move for that long. And now that you're fully retired, this is what you're doing. But you have sacrificed 20 years of your life for another person. Now, I'm not knocking him for that part, because it's like, okay, that's not too big of a deal. The part that bugs me about it is her. Like, he sacrificed 20 years of his life for you. There's nothing wrong with your mother, but you don't want to move because of her. How about you move her closer to where you're going to be with your husband that you've been with for more than 20 years? Now, that has unexpectedly been the preface of this conversation. Because what I want to talk to you about, and I want your feedback, ladies and gentlemen, young and old, I want your feedback and input on this conversation. Why do people, mostly women, stay in situations that are not beneficial to them, that do not provide mental, physical, and emotional growth? Why? Help me understand that. I know so many women who will not put themselves first in order to be happy, because they're too busy making decisions or not making decisions that are beneficial to other people. And then you sit back and say, or not even say, you sit back and complain about how you missed out on your life because of other people. I don't care if it's kids. I don't care if it's family. I don't even care if it's a dead marriage or relationship. And I'm saying this out of a little bit of experience, because when I first came to Maryland in 1990, well, not when I first, when I got off active duty and I came to Maryland in 95, I said, I am not staying in Maryland. But I was not financially ready or positioned to make any moves like that. Now, I could have jumped out on a limb and say, you know what, I'm out. If I fail, then, you know, I can bounce back or whatever. But I did not position myself to make those moves. So I stayed. And then in 2004, my youngest son was born. So then I said to myself, now I'm stuck. Now let's put this into perspective. I got to Maryland in 95. I said I refused to stay in Maryland, but I did nothing absolutely nothing to position myself to get out of Maryland. Then I have a child born in 2004, and then I'm stuck. And here we are in 2026, and I'm still in Maryland against my wishes, my personal wishes. And I look at my life and all the things that have occurred in my life. I've had several relationships. Since I've been in Maryland. Well, I didn't get my first marriage wasn't in Maryland, but I've had 3 divorces in Maryland, several relationships. And what I find as a common theme, because I've dated women in Maryland, I've dated women in different countries, I've dated women in different states, but the one thing that I have found constant is a lot of the women that I've dated are stuck geographically or whatever because of some mental or emotional anchor. And it frustrates me because it's like, over the course of my dating life and marriage life, there have been women that I've really enjoyed being with, but they're stuck somewhere. And I am at the point, and I know a lot of these other women out here are at the point where it's like, okay, you may have kids, but they are up in age, or where they're older, teenagers, or they're grown. So if you have kids that are, teenagers, let's just say 17, 18. Now, I get it if they want to graduate in the same school that they've been going to the whole time. So let's exempt them. So let's just say they are between the ages of 13 and 15. Maybe, 13, 15. Let's leave it there. What's stopping you from relocating? If your kids are grown and they're going to college or whatever the case may be, they call themselves out there in the world, what is stopping you from leaving? If there's nothing wrong with your parents, let's just say your parents are in their 60s, 70s, depending on your age, and this applies to men as well. What is stopping you from going to live your life? Now, I know a lot of people use the excuse or the reasoning that I want to be close by just in case something happens. Okay, so at what point do you live your life? What if 5 years go by and that just in case doesn't happen? You've wasted 5 years of your life, or you've become comfortable with not living your life, that you've missed that amount of time. Let's just say you were dating someone, in a relationship with someone. You've lost those amount of years because you wanted to be available for someone else. But what about you? What about what you want? I say all that to say, I have come to the point in my life where, especially dating, I cannot live my life being held hostage by someone else's inability to live. I often say I don't negotiate with terrorists. And what I mean by that, when I say that, what I mean is I will not bend to the whims of my adult children. I will not do it. I refuse to do it. They are grown. They are making their own decisions. And oftentimes their decisions do not take my life into consideration. They are living their lives. They're doing what they see fit doing. And that has absolutely nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. So I just looking at that bigger picture, it's striking to me the sacrifices that people make for people that they don't need to make it for, or in opposition to how they want to live out their lives. So the way I look at it is, if the situation is not reciprocal to me, even on a smaller scale, because I don't ask for much and I don't require much, but I think what bothers me most is when a woman that I'm dealing with, and when I observe situation that men are in, when someone is requesting so much of you, but they cannot even give you 3/4 of that in return, it's a problem. It's a real problem. And I think that people are so used to, or so comfortable, or so complacent to what they have been doing, that they cannot see outside of that, or they refuse to see outside of it. It's like they know better, but they don't see outside of that. I can reference things that have happened. Damn, that's a big ass bird. I can reference situations that I have been in my life, and it's like, yo, why are you staying where you're staying? How do you fix your mind to say that you feel a certain way about me and you want certain things with me, but yet you do not position yourself to make that a reality? And it just hit me like a ton of bricks when I ran into Uncle yesterday and he said that to me, because it resonated with me. Like, he said, I've been wanting to move to Georgia for the last 20 years, but I stayed because of her. And now that I'm retired, I'm going. Damn. 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 That lit a fuse in my ass. Because I'm looking at my life like, what the hell am I doing? My child graduates from college next year. I do not plan on being in the state of Maryland past 2028. My contract with the National Guard is up September 9th, 2028. I do not plan on being in Maryland past the end of September of 2028. If I'm in a situation, relationship or whatever, if that person is rolling with me, they're rolling with me. If not, peace. I have to definitely live for me. And if whoever I am dealing with, if we plan on being long term, if you are not with that, then bye. Life is too short. Time is the one thing that we have that we will never, ever, ever, ever get back. Why waste it? Why allow other people to manipulate our time? Let me get your feedback in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have faced similar situations in the past, present. Let me know. I want your opinion. I want your feedback. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace. I gotta get this Dunkin' Donuts down that I do not have a taste for. I spent $13 in Dunkin' Donuts on this mango thing, a cruller, and a Boston cream, and I do not even want it. I don't want it. Same thing happened yesterday when I got Wawa. I got a matcha, and I didn't eat it. I mean, I didn't drink it, because ugh. All right, I'll catch y'all in the next one before I start rambling. Peace.